So, the practice of Lojong, the last couple of weeks, actually, we've taken a bit of a break from talking about the slogans, what we call mind training. Um, and we talked a bit about shamatha, which is calm, abiding. We just practiced that by focusing attention and allowing, through that gentle, concentrative attention, the mind calms on its own. And then vipassana, which is more of kind of the insights we gain from the practice, um, what we call simplicity. That by engaging in simplicity, that insights into the nature of things arise more freely, more naturally. So in the Maha Mudra tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, these are seen to be two of the first four stages of practice. Shamatha, calm abiding, and simplicity, or vipassana, where we actually get to know things as they arise. We also come to know that dimension of our own underlying nature of mind. And consistent with the Lojong teachings, we have been kind of working our way through the first 3 points, and we're near the end of the third point of Lojong, which is taking adversity onto the path. And the final slogan of this third point is to relate whatever you can to meditation. This is the commentary by Chekawayeshi Dorji from the 13th century that we've been working with. The Lotsawa House has a good translation. The way they've translated it is, whatever you encounter, apply the practice. So this can mean various things. In many ways, when we think about Lojong or mind training, we're really talking about cultivating a quality of heart. It's compassion training. It's training in meeting suffering, adversity with love, with compassion and kindness. So these two qualities of kindness and compassion are always arising. And within the compassion practice, Tonglen, what we call sending forth and receiving, that we did a few weeks ago, train in the taking and the receiving of suffering. And we began with our own suffering. The traditional practice is to begin by being able to bear your own adversity on the path, which is the suffering that you carry, and training thus for being able to hold the suffering of others. So we're basically working our way through these slogans to this last slogan of the third point of the 7-point mind training, which is just apply the practice to everything. So that could feel kind of time consuming, right? To go through your day and just kind of say, I'm going to practice with everything around me. And it's possible until we forget to do it, or until we get busy and the mind is distracted outward again, and sort of focusing on life and attending to work and school and all the things that we have to do. So nobody is saying this is easy to do, and it's of course easier if we're in a contemplative environment and an intentional living environment in which, we're doing this regularly or on retreat in some way. So applying everything to mindfulness, to meditation. And what we're really talking about here are adverse circumstances. Again, this is part of the third point, which is taking adversity on the path. Whether it belongs to you or to someone you love or to a population, a group of people that we know about that maybe are experiencing oppression, or the environment, whatever it may be, that this too is how we practice. And the qualities that we're being taught here, besides the cultivation of heart, are specific to Maha Mudra practice. Maha Mudra, again, being this dimension of Tibetan Buddhist practice that relies on cultivating the mind and sort of gaining this sense of one taste or single state awareness, where It's all pointed. It's not just single pointed attention onto an object, but it's just open. And the center, I think there's a quote that what is it? That, anyway, that the center of God is everywhere. And in many ways, this is the spirit of Lojong as well, that the center of our awareness is everywhere. You can sort of relate that a bit. And it's this quality of unity of mind, unification of mind, involving a recognition that mind, just as we did in our meditation a moment ago, is awareness itself has two fundamental qualities. One is that it is open and spacious. What some scholars have translated as empty, emptiness, which doesn't mean nothingness. Emptiness is not sort of just an absence of all things and a vacuum, but rather it is a sense of profound openness and clarity in which forms are not sort of taking over, sort of dominating, hijacking the mind on its own, but rather this sort of open clarity that is clear and pristine. This is empty. And the second quality is luminosity, that the mind is also fundamentally bright, like a bright sun in sunlit sky. This is the quality of awareness that's being taught through many of these traditions. And in Maha Mudra in particular, emptiness, luminosity are two sides of the same coin. When we talk about luminosity, we are talking about just the most utmost pristine clarity, that it's bright, it's vivid. So in many ways, these two are not different from each other, but it's sort of one open experience. And so some of the images that we use in our practice around, open sky mind, that kind of thing, is really seeking for us to open to that quality, those qualities of mind. And even if we drop in just for a moment, we have an imprint of that experience. We sort of have a deep recognition, and then poof, it may evaporate quickly. And then we're spend all our time trying to get it back. And then it doesn't always work. In fact, it rarely works. Once we're clinging and we're trying to reclaim that experience, what happened? Where'd it go? So part of the key there is the way we started our meditation out earlier this evening is not to meditate at all. So it's a little bit of a trick I played on you guys. I said, look, you know what? Don't worry about meditating. If you don't want to meditate, do this instead. Focus on your breathing and let your awareness of the body sort of open you to your senses. So yeah, we went through meditation basically. But the point is don't try too hard to meditate away out of what we call our samsara, our samsaric existence, but rather allow yourself to settle into this very deeply natural place. If it helps to think of yourself seated under the Bodhi tree, as Thich Nhat Hanh tells us to do, so be it. I think that's a lovely metaphor. And I often will use those locations when I first begin to sit. Immediately I feel as if I'm, sitting on the deck of a mountain somewhere far away with this misty gorge below me and embodying the statue of a Buddha or of an enlightened being and just becoming that in that location. Or it's under a Bodhi tree. Meanwhile, I'm still here. I'm still present. I'm still cultivating a sense of letting go, of releasing, of resting in natural awareness. But the intermediate steps sometimes help when we bring in Tibetan Buddhism, what we call signs, like eagle, the metaphor of eagle, or the Bodhi tree, or open sky. So all of these can be helpful to help us basically experience directly those qualities when we need the support. Otherwise, we let the rest go at our own pace and in a way that feels natural, not forced or striving or trying around it. So